All right. Hey, everyone. It's Jody Maley here from beautiful BC, Canada, with my co-host Diane Klein. And she's not just my co-host, she's my partner in crime.
That's awesome.
Not really. She said, yeah, that's right. She is my accountability partner with the business that we're in together. And she is from beautiful Calgary, Canada as well. So two Canadians here. We might have some other people join us. But today we're talking about develop a positive money consciousness. And instead of reading, why don't we just kind of go through some of the key points that Jack Canfield has laid out. So what we're doing is we are going through a book called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And let's just go through some of the points there. We don't have to read it all out. Let's go through some of the points, read maybe the first couple lines, and then just talk about it a little bit. How do you think about that?
Sure, sounds good.
A little bit of a different format. And it's so, you know what, when things line up in your life, I just have to say this right off the bat. I was literally on a call earlier that someone had asked me to be as a host or as a speaker, I guess, on a radio program. And it was all about starting businesses and working from home and being money conscious, which is kind of funny because it's the exact same topic. So I think when God wants to hit you with something, it's usually for me it's a big beam right across the face. Never a tap on the shoulder. Why can I never get the tap?
Well, we don't pay attention if we just get a tap. We have to get the slap.
True enough. So this is principle number 56. So if you are following along in the Jack Canfield book, or you need a copy of it, you can go to Amazon.com and pick up a copy, Jack Canfield, Success Principles. So this is principle number 56, which is develop a positive money consciousness. There's a secret psychology to money. Most people don't know about it. That's why most people never become financially successful. A lack of money is not the problem. It is merely a symptom of what's going on inside you. And this is by T. Harv Eker, multimillionaire and president of Peak Potentials Training. So, what do you have to say about that?
I love it. I love him. I've read one of his books, and I totally agree with you. It's what we think that happens in our mind, that the way we look at money. Like if we're always going to think, oh my goodness, I have no money. There's no money for bills. There's no money for groceries. There's no money for food. You know, that's where we live.
Yeah.
What we think about is what we live. If we're going to be money consciousness and we want to have the life that we're dreaming of, we have to start thinking there is enough for everybody. There is money everywhere.
And I love just what he said, that lack. The lack of money isn't the problem. It's a symptom of what's going on.
Exactly. And a lot of it is times it is how we grew up, right? The stuff that our parents or people around me said to us, and that's what lived with us. So we have to retrain our brains.
Right. And that goes into the next key thing here, identify your limiting beliefs about money. And absolutely, it comes from what we heard as children. Money doesn't grow on trees. There's not enough money to go around. You have to have money to make money. That's a big one. I didn't hear that from my dad so much, but definitely from other people. How about money's the root of all evil? People with money are evil, bad, or unethical. People with a lot of money are selfish or self-centered. Everyone can't be a millionaire. You can't buy happiness. Rich people only care about money, and if you're rich, you can't be spiritual. And one of those that jumps out there for me right there is the if you are rich, you can't be spiritual. Because I had shared before that when I made a lot of money in a company that I was with, I didn't mind sharing with people that I made money, but I was really, really, really so I was really, really uncomfortable sharing it with my church family.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would have to say that the spiritual part and all about the people being rich or selfish and all that kind of stuff, I know that I grew up with that because we didn't even have money from where the sheltered life that I grew up in. We didn't have money everywhere, and we weren't taught to think that you want to be rich, because
Mhm.
what you read in the Bible and the way they translated it was not about you sitting around on money and having money under your mattress. That just was not acceptable. And so I totally had to, me and my husband had to totally retrain our thinking, and we had to start telling ourselves it's totally not true. Look how beautiful and nice these people are, and they're rich, and wow, they have money, and look at their house, you know. So it was like totally a reprogramming process for us, which was really amazing because now we can teach our kids.
Yeah, and don't you think that you have that agreement there too of and as we're reading into the next little story here, because I'm just kind of skimming it a bit, but people are ashamed, you know, like I shouldn't have been ashamed of sharing how much money I was making with my church group. You know, it should have been, yay, look at, I can give more, right? And
Yeah.
yet there's this whole philosophy around church of just the toils and the tears of life, and everything has to be you know, drudgery and overcoming and X X X X X, right?
Yeah.
And I just really, I don't believe that way anymore. You know, people who are very, very prosperous, if you do talk to them, and I would encourage you that if you have someone who you know who is wealthy, go and take them out for coffee. I think that Jack has said this several times in this book with the success principles. Take them out for coffee, just pick their brain. And you will find that a lot of people who, not all of them, right? Of course, there's some scummy millionaires, I'm sure, but a lot of them have a spiritualness about themselves and about bringing value to people's lives, and they realize that value is in a financial way as well.
Absolutely. And the way I look at it, people that take it, that think that they are spiritual about this money consciousness are really missing the point, because there are so many verses where it tells us that Jesus and God wants us to have everything in life, and He's preparing mansions for us. Like, who on earth has mansions except the rich and the powerful, like the people that know how to get money? And the thing is that oh, I lost my train of thought. But I was going to say, um, I'll go ahead. I lost it. It will come back to me.
Okay, I think that you were kind of on the train of, you know, if we're preparing ourselves for mansions in heaven, why can we not prepare ourselves for wealth here on earth?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and see, I read your mind. And then he goes, there's a little story in here about a woman who had inherited a lot of money, but she hated it. She was ashamed of her wealth. This is on page number 374, if you're following. And her father who made a lot of money, he was never home. He was working really, really hard to make that money. And he was out jet setting around the world, spending it as he made it. Her mother drank excessively. It caused constant fighting and screaming in their households. And not surprisingly, Anne's experience was a miserable experience. And that's where we can get really trapped into some people have money, but they don't, doesn't necessarily mean that they're wise with it or that they're honoring their spirituality, even with that money. So there's limiting decisions that people can make for money. And he gives an example that it's not okay to make more money than my father. That's a huge one. Do you know how many times I hear people say, or even parents say, well, if it was good enough for me, it should be good enough for you. And why don't you just be more appreciative of what you have? But what if you have jack squat?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And the thing is, okay, my thought came back. I just need to mention this because when you were saying earlier about people and thinking that other people and how to treat other people, it's so clearly that even if we have money and those people that follow the golden rule to do unto others as they would have them do to you, that they're the ones that are the prosperous ones, and they're the ones that have the proper mindset and the proper feelings around money, because they are not afraid to share and to give. And if how can you help with charities? How can you give to other countries if you don't have it, if you're lacking, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Sorry, I had to mention that because I lost it.
No, it's true. If you come from an area of lack, sometimes it's hard to change your mindset to, yeah, money could be the root of all evil for people who are maybe that way to begin with. But if you have a generous heart, this is what I'm hearing you say, if you have a generous heart, when you make more money, your generosity just continues to grow and to bloom. And I know several years ago when I had left my ex-husband, and for a couple days I, was kind of in a transition spot, and I had considered going into a shelter with my 2 kids, but then a friend of the family had offered her basement for us to live in, so that's where we kind of moved. But I remember going into that shelter and thinking, I was so fortunate and blessed that I had somebody who kind of took me under her wing and was willing to take care of me and my children while we kind of healed, and I got kind of clear on what I really wanted in my life and in our financial situation, etc. And I have such a heart for those women who are going in transition. And that's where I have continued. It's been 14 years since I've been divorced, and I continue to drop off stuff at the transition house, is what they call it, a safe place where women can go, because I know what it felt like to be fearful. I know what it felt like to be pushed around and having fights in front of my kids and having a person who controlled or tried to control every aspect of your life, and how scary it is. And the first thing that you think about is finances and money, and not just lack, but how can you survive, right? And so I do whatever I can for our local transition house, dropping off clothes, sometimes dropping off cash, gift cards, toys and stuff like that for the children who are going through the transition, because to me that's my giving back.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, you have heard so many stories about these, in this story here of this girl, this Andrea, who didn't like money and the way she grew up. It's so true that even people that win the lottery, they're not happy. They hate the money. Whereas the self-made millionaire and the people that grow with their money are in so much better position, and they position themselves with their money because they know how it feels to not have any money, and they know that there are people out there that need them, and they know that if they don't go through what they had to do, then they're not going to be willing to give it.
Yeah. And you know what? He kind of points that out on page 375, where it says, if I become wealthy, I will be a burden, where this is like a middle-class person who decided to, made a lot more money financially than his dad had. And I think that some people think that way too, that just like you said, if they win the lottery, it doesn't make them any necessarily happy, because they weren't happy before they won it. And even some people who do make millions and millions of dollars, they have learned that money cannot buy happiness for them. However, I'll point out that a lot of times when I didn't have to worry about money and I didn't have to worry about having to pay bills and this and that, we were a lot less stress-free and happier, because you had that worry being taken care of. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And it's so true. Who was sharing on Facebook a while ago, one of my friends or one of the leaders was saying that the statistics of divorce out there and the fighting is all because of finances and money. Well, why is that? We do need money in our culture to survive. We do need money to enjoy life, because we do want to take our kids on trips, and the family have a family vacation, because who needs to work 375 days a year? The people that are in a lack position, the people that don't have money to pay the bills and think they never have money.
Yep. And you can retrain your brain. I know that we had talked about this before, on how to have a more positive mindset. And you can retrain your brain to have a more positive mindset when it comes to money. And, I don't have my purse around me, but one of the things that you can do right away to help you retrain your brain a little bit for money is, you need to sit down and write out everything that you owe. Okay? Hiding from it is not going to make it go away. and not taking a step towards paying off your debt. That's why we have debt-free. Who wants to be debt-free? But you need to take a real good look at your financial situation. And the one tip that I had from a fellow lady millionaire was, what's in your wallet?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was actually Rhonda Bryan in the book that we were talking about the other day called The Power, that I'm reading or listening to on Audible. And she talked about this. You know, how can you can do little games that really can retrain your brain for a better flow of money. And one of them is your wallet. Go through your wallet, get rid of all the crap in it. Crap meaning the extra, if you have receipts in there, well, file them. Especially if you're in a business, file them into your tax folder so that they're handy when you're doing your taxes next year. So get rid of all those receipts and stuff. And the other thing that she said, and this kind of made sense to me, is put in order your wallet money, so that if you have cash in your wallet, and by the way, you should always carry cash with you. It doesn't have to be thousands of dollars, but even $20, $30, $50, whatever, but keep the cash in your wallet and have the money facing you, so that when you open up your wallet, that's the first thing you see, because you're retraining your brain that instead of, I don't have enough, it's, oh, I have the money for that, but I'm choosing not to purchase it right now. But thank gosh, I've got the money in my wallet to pay for that. So you can have this fun game with yourself and organizing your wallet so that your money is facing you, so that we have beautiful money up here in Canada. We're a lot more lucky than a lot of countries, because I love looking at the color of our money. The blue, they've changed everything recently, so our blue is a more vibrant blue. The $10 bill is a more vibrant purple $10 bill. The $20 bill is a more vibrant green. And the pink one, which is our $50 bill, is bright pink, and the money just looks fun.
Yeah. And the hundreds, they're brown. They're the most in the world.
Yeah, and actually the $100 bill, my older children live in Kamloops, BC, and we lived there for a while. And just as you come into Kamloops, if you're coming the south way through Cache Creek, when you come into Kamloops, they have this, it's up on this hill and it overlooks a lake and stuff, and that is actually the view of the $100 bill. So they have a little rest area stop that you can go out. And so here's the cool thing, is that I remember stopping there every once in a while with a couple hundreds in my pocket for the purpose of doing this. That I would look at the $100 bill, and then I'd actually look at the view of where the $100 bill was taken. And when you can put yourself into that feeling, and now every time I think about the $100 bill, I think of myself looking out over that view, admiring the view, and admiring the $100 bill in my wallet.
Absolutely, absolutely. I learned that thing about the money in the wallet as well from a different book as well, and that person said the game, I think it was actually Abraham Hicks, where I had listened to.
Yes.
And she said, put a $100 bill or a couple of hundred or something in your wallet and go to a store and pretend you're buying, but then say, oh, I choose not to purchase this right away, but you know what? I have the money if I want to. And you can spend $1,000, like go and spend $1,000 a day doing that. And then
mentally
doing that, train yourself. So that's actually...
We read the same book. I actually had, and a doctor, this is no word of a lie, a doctor that I was going to with my migraine headaches last year, and he had a hard time releasing the headaches and stuff. And he finally just told me it was emotional based. Okay? And he had actually given me that book, the Abraham Hicks one. And I remember reading that story in there about the money. And a lot of times when you're not well in your health, if you're not well, physically, mentally, spiritually, and stuff like that, if you look to the signs around you, you have all sorts of warning signals telling you, what is making you unhealthy. And those are just signs to listen to. And that Abraham Hicks book is really, really good. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I was actually just thinking about it the other day that I want to go through it again, because in that book, they speak of a lot of games that you can play to make yourself fall more in love with money. I mean, every time, like I said, I think about the lake and the $100 bill, I put myself into a really good spot in my heart of a good feeling about $100 bills. And I actually gave that to my son when he graduated last year. And I wrote to him I gave him $100 bill, and I wrote out that story for him and said, you know what, I just want you to keep this in your wallet and remind yourself that as a young man that you will always have enough. I said, don't spend the $100. That's not what it's for, but it is to keep in your wallet here and remind you that, hey, this is something my mom gave me, and my mom believes that I have more than enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually listening to a Danny Johnson audio here a while ago, and I was following her a little bit, and she was telling how she was homeless, I think, at one point as well, and she had to retrain herself and relearn about money. She's a billion, I don't know what she is now, maybe even a billionaire. But she mentioned something about her son. She said, me and my husband had decided we'll never talk about lack, we'll never talk about that way for money, and she's always talk prosperous and positive around money in their household. And all of a sudden, her son was old enough to move out, or one of them was old enough to move out, and he'd come back and he'd talk about, we don't have money for this and we don't have money for that. And her ears picked it up, and she sat him down and she said, look, son, you didn't grow up around that kind of talk. Where is this coming from? You have to change what you're saying. You have to change the words, And she said, it is so powerful, the words that you use. And she said, I had to totally change my son around, and I had to say to him, these are the words you use. This is what you say. And she said, it works. It really works.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack Canfield in the book here, if you go on to page 377, he actually gives us 3 steps here to turn around your limiting beliefs about money. So the first step is to write down the limiting belief that you have about money. Like, what did you grow up hearing? Okay, that'll probably be the one big limiting belief. So for a lot of people, and I agree with this one, money is the root of all evil, or money doesn't grow on trees, or whatever you've been told. We don't have enough money for that, so quit asking. I actually caught myself saying that to my children the other day, and I'm like, okay, look. I'm like, because right now we are a little bit financially strapped, because when we didn't have a job a few years ago, we used up a whole bunch of our RSPs to live, and now we owe $12,000 on taxes that we had to pay for cashing in those RSPs. But I found myself saying that to the kids the other day. Okay, like, we are like really, really strict on money, blah, blah, blah. We don't have it. And then I thought, I just gave a limiting belief to my children. So I rephrased it. And I think I shared this with you, Diane, a few days ago. I'm like, we're actually almost paid off that money. We started paying for it, I think it was like February, March, $12,000. And this is the middle of July. We have 2 more paychecks. And actually, my husband gets paid tomorrow, so it'll be tomorrow. And then 2 weeks from now. And that $12,000 debt is gone. We are finished paying that one debt. So I rephrased what I even said to my kids. And when I said, you know what? We just have 2 more checks to go, and then we're going to take a fun vacation in August. So let's start thinking of where we want to go. So that's the challenge. So that was number 1 on his tip, is write down the limiting belief. That was obviously something I had said recently. And number 2 is challenge, make fun of, and argue with the limiting belief that you have. So you can do this by brainstorming a list of new beliefs that can challenge your old ones. This is what he recommends. And I think about what I even told to my kids. I'm like, okay, it's just for a short time, but let's start thinking what we want to do next month. What kind of fun thing could we do? And then step number 3 is create a positive turnaround statement. So the turnaround statement is, you know what? It has been tight for us, but we have literally 2 more paychecks and $12,000 of debt. Getting rid of that in less than, I think it's not even 6 months, maybe 5 months or less, is huge. Yes. And if we can do that, we can eliminate all our other debts so much more quickly.
Absolutely. And the worry's gone, and everything is gone around that. It's not just that the money is paid off. It's like a load lifted off your shoulder, and you can breathe. And to top it all off, it's to know that you did it. Yeah. That's almost the biggest thing, because what bigger challenge is going to be there for you then, and be there for us once we get that goal paid off?
Mm-hmm. And he has a little challenge here too, that he wants you to write out your new money belief on a 3x5 index card and carry it around you with your affirmations, and start reading it out loud and be enthusiastic and passionate about what you are putting into place, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
huge. And I can't say it enough that I know he says writing on an index card, but what if you took it that one step further? And I'm big on this: record what you want to accomplish. So I listen 2 to 3 times a day now, since it worked last time I did it and I signed up 2 people in one day. I now listen to it 3 times a day, where I'm just listening to myself affirm my big goal, which is to have over 200 people in my downline either sign up by me personally or whatever by August 15th. And people are, I know some people are going to go, what, blah, blah, blah. But when I first started this, like 90 days ago, I had nobody. And now I have 22 people on my team. And I'll even be so excited even to just get the 100 even. But my goal is 200, because I
Yeah.
believe God can take what I'm saying, and I have it. Listening to it is actually more, because I think we did some kind of thing of what kind of a learner are you and stuff too. So I'm definitely an audio type learner. I need to hear it and then it gets processed out again.
Absolutely. And I think as much as you possibly can to remember that is also like if you even just get up in the morning and tell it to yourself in the mirror, or at night before you go to sleep, tell it to yourself, speak it to yourself, see the words coming out of your mouth and speak it, and even just take that index card, make it small and carry it around in your pocket. Because every time you touch it,
Yeah.
you feel it. Because I do that. I have a little piece of paper in my jean pocket. In 90 days my goal is to make $20,000 a month. I That's my goal.
Yeah.
You know what, if I carry it around and I go shopping and, oh, what's this? Or even some people carry a little rock. I used to carry a little rock in my pocket, just a reminder, because it's amazing how your mind works once you train it.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I think I agree with Jack Canfield, when you have fun with it, and Rhonda Byron, and the other book that we read with Abraham Hicks, the more um, joy that you can bring out of it. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. I know what some of you are thinking right now, because I thought that way too, but what if you don't have anything? What if
yeah,
you were just surviving paycheck to paycheck? Like every dollar counts. And I know for a lot of people who message me that our business to start is only $20. $20 to start a business. And by the way, that's crazy, 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 crazy for what you're getting out of the $20. The value in the $20 is more than enough to make you triple, quadruple the money that you have ever made before. But the thing is that there's so many people who are like, I don't even have the $20. But you know what? You can find unexpected money all around you if you're just open to it. And I had done a YouTube video about 5 ways of getting money really, really quick for even a $20 startup. One thing is just to ask your friends and family to support you. If you have
yeah,
a birthday coming up or an anniversary or something like that, just say, hey, you know what? I'm starting this business, and the first things I have to buy are from Amazon. How about, instead of a birthday card or whatever, I would really appreciate if you gave me like a $25 or $50 gift certificate for Amazon. Think of how far that would make your business go.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm just going to jump in here quickly and share, everybody that's successful, every book you read about somebody who has become successful, Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, Danny Johnson, they've all been there. We've been there. I mean, Jody, you and I talk about it all the time. My story is in 2008, we lost our house. It was bank repossessed. We all started there, but we all didn't give up. We just kept pushing. We kept looking. We kept believing. We kept the hope alive. That is why we are where we are right now. That is why we've come so far. Because if you just have that belief, if you have that hope and you don't give it up, and I was reading this morning, I forget where it was, but it's just everybody who is successful and who gains success, the the reason is they didn't give up. Like the moral of the story,
Yeah.
the to break it all down, if you just don't give up, it can be over the next little bump.
Yeah.
So,
And I see that we're at the half hour already. Boy, that went quick.
yeah.
But he has in here, in the Success Principles on page 379, he actually has a way by releasing yourself from those negative thoughts around your money and how the way you're looking at it and feeling about it right now. And I would recommend anyone that if you feel right in your heart, hey, I like what these gals are sharing. I love listening to us every day because we have people who are following us every day and watching our videos and learning a lot of stuff. But what's in your gut right now, okay? And he has this on page 379 that you can just take yourself through a little process of whether it's negative or limiting belief about the money. So we told you to start in our programs like $20. Now, what does that feel like for you right now? Okay? Does that feel negative or does that feel positive? And then he wants you to say, could I just welcome it in and allow it? So if you say, you know what, I really believe that what these women are saying is true. We've shared some success stories here on our panel of, and it's not just success stories in money. These are success stories in finding out who you are. These are success stories in finding out your limiting beliefs and maybe a fear that's holding you back. If you don't even have a support group, you know, one woman on our panel here shared the other day how just being in this support group has changed her so much in the last couple of weeks. And guess what? She's making daily sales, okay? Because she has allowed and welcomed the change to occur. The other thing he mentions is, can I let it go? And sometimes you have to let go of that negativity around it. And would you let it go? Just give yourself permission right now. If you think, I can't even afford $20, guess what? There are so many different ways of coming up with $20. There's so many ways of coming up with $2,000. There's so many ways of coming up with $20,000. And if those numbers scare you, it's because you have a fear there. And you just need to shift your mindset to if that's really, really possible for you. And when can you see yourself doing that?
Yeah. Wow. Powerful. And you know, if you go through the process and you think about how your life is going to be, like what you live now, is that how you want to stay? Is that where you want to stay at? I know we don't. I know we lost that house. And guess what? The next house we're gonna have is gonna be so much more amazing, and it's gonna be paid for because we're not gonna have to worry about a 20-year mortgage that we had before or whatever mortgages they have nowadays. We're not gonna have to worry about this because we have hope and we have a gold mine right here with the business that we have. And I just hope for all of you out there, I hope if there's even just one person that we've touched today that realizes, is there hope for me? I know if you're feeling down and you're feeling like there's nothing you can do, just pick yourself up from the floor. Stand up straight, look yourself straight in the eye in the mirror and say, yes, I can do something. Take that first step. That's where it all starts. That's where everybody who's successful and millionaires and billionaires nowadays, Donald Trump had to start with the first step.
Yep. And he's lost millions and made it back so quickly because he had a belief in himself. And so I know that we have a few people actually viewing this live right now. And so, you know, if 90 days is too much for you to think about, you know, when you're even worrying about next week. So what I want you to envision is like have a goal of getting started with $20 or have a goal of getting started maybe even with $100. That would give you $20 and enough money to purchase items onto Amazon. Give yourself that goal. And how would it look like even 2 weeks from now? Start small. If all you can see is 2 weeks from now, then go from there. What would it look like to have started a business and have made some sales in a couple of weeks? How would that feel right here, right in your heart? And that's what I want to leave with you guys today is that you can switch your mind to a different money concept. You can really have money flowing in from everywhere. And when I first did this and read that book, Abraham Hicks book, a few months ago, I went searching through my house on money. You can find change in your house anywhere. I found, loonies and toonies and quarters that I had stuck into my jewelry case, right? Because I emptied out my pockets, and that's just kind of where it went. I had money when I learned to, not learned, but when I went back to skiing this year. I tried on a jacket and stuff to go skiing with my daughter here in the springtime, and one pocket had $5 in it, another pocket had 20, another one had some change in the other one, because the last time that I went skiing 13 years ago, okay, 13 years, I hadn't even looked in the pocket of my ski jacket and stuff. But when you're on the ski hill and you break your money up, and then you just tend to kind of tuck it away wherever, like I had a $40 jacket that I didn't even know about.
There you go.
Go searching through your house. You will find money in the couch, under the floor. Right now, I have some money that we're going to take a whole bunch of change in, and I probably have about $80 worth of change that we can just take in and bring that into the bank right now for both my kids for their bank accounts. We have money sitting out in our garage right now in the form of bottles. Not just ours, but my parents. They have water bottles and pop bottles, and my dad empties out his garage, so he brings it over to my house. But I'm like, well, whatever. You know what? It's money in our bank for the kids, right?
Absolutely.
So think of it. Think of different ways and places that you have money. And I'd suggest clean out a closet.
And I'll just quickly, I know we're going over a little bit, but I have just a quick little story. If you think money all the time and you think about seeing money, I'll tell you a quick story. I took my little son to the barber shop, and the owner of this he's a cool guy. He's very friendly with all the customers. He was telling us, and he was cutting this young man's hair, and he was telling him, I see money everywhere. I see money in the floor. I walked down the street the other day and I picked up a $10 bill. And the young guy in the chair, he must have been like a teenager, 15, 16, he said, that's why I'm here for a haircut. And he held up a $20 bill. He said, I just picked this up on the street, and my mama said I should go for a haircut. And this is a true story. And I thought, that's amazing. And I was sitting there because we're doing all this reading about mindset and stuff. And I thought, there are people out there that do it. So I just thought I'd share that quickly.
My husband will stop when we're on walks and pick up bottles. A, it's a safety thing, and B, he's like, we'll just add it to the kids' bottle collection when we get home, so they got a little bit of spending money. And you know what? Like you just said, you will find money in the most odd places. And I encourage you, clean out a closet, because I'm sure you will find several dollars just that will come out of pockets and maybe on the floor or whatever. So you're mentally clearing out a closet and physically clearing it out, and you're going to get some money out of it. Guarantee.
There you go.
All right, so I want to thank you guys for coming here today and joining us. And, you can change your money concepts, and you can start a business that you love and enjoy. But the thing is that you have to start, okay? And you are going to be stuck in a money nightmare if you don't make the choice today to make some changes for you, for your family, and finding out what you really, really love to do. And as Rachel, our leader here who started this hangout in this group called Fearless Online Entrepreneurs, you can get started right now on changing your money concept. And this business is a business that can fund your dreams, okay? And she loves saying that, and it's something that I totally agree with. Maybe you've been too scared to follow through on dreams that you had before. Maybe they feel that they're just so much out of your reach. And both Diane and I, we've been there. We've felt it. And this business has given us, both of us have over 20 team members on our teams now. That wasn't just me who's had that phenomenal result. So has Diane. And it's given back to us our dreams. It's given back to us the ability to dream and make our income and our family's income and our family's futures come true.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you again for watching us. You can go on to our online group, Fearless Online Entrepreneurs, and if you want a copy of Jack Canfield's book, you can ask one of us here, or you can go to Amazon and purchase it. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend following through on the good tips and ideas that he's given to everyone. All right, so take care. Make it a great day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.